Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone who decided to join the Wasteless World Talks with Kevin and Bill and Michael. And we are here today to open a topic which frequently is not being discussed on LinkedIn or any business table. We will speak about love. And I mean it, because I think it is a very important topic. And it's really sad that we take it away and we leave it at the door when we leave to work. So if I start with you, Bill, you are smiling better than Kevin today. What do you see in front of your eyes if I say the term love? What is the first what you see?
I feel two words come into my mind. Joy, of course, but healthy comes into my mind because I remember how many different times I've read that a good belly laugh a couple of times a day is very healthy. Many other thoughts. There's too many are coming, um, but oftentimes we laugh without moving our belly. We laugh. If you're in a business meeting and somebody says something, whether it be totally inappropriate or totally in character for this weird person, or oftentimes I would laugh, but my face would be straight. But inside, I can barely breathe. I'm laughing so hard, right? So there's different types of laughter, of laughing by me. I don't know, how is it with you?
Uh, I probably pronounced the topic wrongly.
You're kidding me. You should have stopped me.
No, it was going in a direction. I will explain after. It was going in a direction in some way, which is right. The topic is LOUA, laugh. I love someone, not laugh a smile. Loving, love.
Love.
LOV. Yes, exactly. Sorry for that.
Wow.
It's my mistake. Sorry for that. And I let Kevin right now answer the question what he see if I say laugh, and then I will explain why I didn't stop you.
Okay, I was actually thinking when you said love, and we're talking about the wasteless world, love is responsible for so much waste. Wasted emotions, wasted time, wasted feelings. It's a very tricky, wasteful thing. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying how it is. I think that we wouldn't want to live without it, but it does result in a lot of mess and a lot of waste.
It's a very interesting answer. And just now I will answer before letting you to answer for a second time, Bill. Why I didn't stop you. You know, in Czech Republic, we have a saying that laugh is going through the stomach of a man. And this is when you start to speak about stomach. So I was thinking he is on this. And then at the end, I recognized it was not the way. But it's one of the saying in Czech that the laugh between woman and man, it's going through the stomach of a man. This is, I don't know where they came from, but it is so. So what you see if I say laugh, how to pronounce it correctly? Laugh?
Love, the V sound. Love.
Love, love,
Love.
love. Okay, I will try.
First of all, Kevin, I'm still caught. You lassoed my imagination with your answer. For love is the most important thing in any discussion that you can be in, and yet you call it wasteful, as though without love is more efficient or something like that.
No, we certainly can't do without it, but it's not a clean process. It's a messy business.
It's a messy business. It's a messy business. It's a messy business. Love. There are lots of synonyms for love, and you use the word responsibility, Kevin. Um, we have and everybody's answer is going to be different on this. So this is very, very personal. We have a responsibility to love. We have a responsibility to love each other, to love ourselves. We have such a responsibility to love, and that's how we show respect for another person or for a tree or for anything. Love means respect, and too often love is showing love uh, is only so that you can get something, right? Some people use love, trade love to get something, whether it be um, I don't know, a safe roof over your head or something, and they show this love or this respect, and it's and it's a fake love. So there's real love, there's fake love. Um, some people don't appear to show love for anybody or anything. So totally self-engrossed. Uh, gosh, big topic. Somebody help me out.
It was if I do remember properly, it was you who mentioned last time that we did not spoke about love, and I have it in my head for a long time. I decided yesterday to put it there because I think it's a very interesting, especially one aspect in my language. It is not common to say I love my work. It is really not common sentence. Uh, and it's strange. Or let's say a different way. We have two ways how to say love. One is the, let's say, soft, like I love my mother. So not deep, not like the lover's love. And the second is the lover's love. And we say sometimes we say the first way of love, I love my work, but it has nothing to do with the personal love. But I have almost never heard, I really love my work from the deep of my heart. This is what I do. This is generally for me, love and meaningfulness are very close together. And I think that it is a pity that it disappeared from the work. Because I think that the power of touch generally, which we use in Industry 5.0, is exactly the love to what I do, to the not to the result, to the process. The result is at the end, but the process, this is what I love, this discovery of our talks. What will come after the first minute? It's not the second, it's generally the 39s where we find out that we are at the end without saying nothing at the end. But I think this is somehow, it was so strong resonating with me, so I decided to put it as a topic.
So do you feel, Michael, this deep, meaningful love for your work?
Yes. For the last 10 years, yes. This one aim is really the only what I'm concentrating on.
In something you said that this love has disappeared. Do you think that people long time ago used to feel this deep love for their work? Did it indeed disappear, or was it ever here?
I have the same discussion 4 hours ago. Yes. And we came to this question as well. And the answer by Pat was that she thought, or she's thinking, that generally after the Second World War, we start more to concentrate on the volumes, on the consume, on the increase, on growth, and that there generally start to disappear the true love. They are skilled people, but right now in a factory, you don't need skilled people. You need people who just put something on something else and put it together. I don't say they are not skilled people. I just say they are not doing what they really love to do.
Also, if you look back historically, in this time frame or before the First War, 1800s and so on, we had primarily an agrarian farm existence, and I would expect a farmer who is working the land and holding the dirt in his hand is going to love what he is doing more than the machine operator. So maybe it's an evolution, and that we have gotten off. That's fascinating to think that we've gotten off track, but we used to we used to be closer to that love of what we do.
What about you, Kevin?
I was thinking that, of course, love is a spectrum, and at the darker end of the spectrum, love becomes desire, and desire can be both extremely good and extremely bad. And I think that in the case of the giants, they are filled with desire, and from desire comes greed. And I think that they're all connected together. So love to desire to greed, it's a dangerous slope once you get to the wrong end of love, because love is an extremely powerful emotion. And if you let your love become desire, it can become extremely unhealthy.
You know, I just yesterday I have seen some topic where someone says that the food industry is generating the biggest amount of carbon emissions. And I asked, it was some economist, I don't remember his name. And I asked him, okay, so what is the carbon emission footprint of money? That's the topic. I think this is the slow which you just described. You know, we don't see it. And what was interesting, generally in the noon discussion, we did not touch the love between men and women. We touch animals. I opened the topic. You know, we express our love by hugs and kisses and so on, and by speaking about love. This is what the animals cannot do, or plants. They cannot speak, or we do not understand how they speak, let's say. But still, if you own an animal, you love this creature, and this creature usually loves you if you behave rightly to it. And it's without any conditions, you know, it's just the dog or cat, or we have a rabbit, or it doesn't matter. The question is, I think that the development which you mentioned, Bill, I will not call it development in this way. I will call it generally the opposite. What is the opposite of degradation, maybe, of the humanity? Because we are pushed to spend more and more time in a work without love. Then we come home and we, let's say, expect that a big amount of love will wait for us. But I don't think we create the balance in here.
No, I agree. Looking back again, I appreciate your historical start to this discussion, because as we look back, I think that after the First War, when we had the stock market crash, and everybody was living hand to mouth for so long, and then we went right into the Second War, and everybody was living hand to mouth, and so on. And it was after that 20-year period that we started the consumer, the disposable society, plastics, all of that. So it's a real evolution, but there is some historical perspective. And growing up in the business world in the 70s and 80s and 90s, the, you know, it really, I characterize it as a more society. You have to grow, you have to have more. And if you did not sing that song, you were not on the team. But that's changing from a more kind of society to enough society. I have enough. I have enough of a car. I have enough of a roof over my head. I have enough of friendship around me. So now I can move on and I can find I can find what Marie Kondo says brings me joy. I can look for it. I have time to look for it because I'm no longer trying to gather more and more and more of everything. And so I'm an optimist, I think, but that's what I'm looking for the world to be moving toward. And maybe it'll take a long, long time, but I see changes. I see people being more gentle with each other. I see conversations. I could not have this conversation 20 years ago or 40 years ago. We would have to have some very efficient business conversation, and not a conversation like this. So I'm looking at it historically, the evolution.
Uh, do you think, Kevin, that the relationship which was just described by Bill changed by COVID or with COVID or because of COVID?
I think that the full effects of COVID won't really be understood for another 10 or 15 years. I think the fact that here in Denmark, people, they don't work in the office 5 days a week any longer. And I don't think that will revert back to the old ways. It's, you know, there is other ways to live. And this is just the start of it, like Bill says. The realization that I was running around just to buy things rather than spending my time, rather than spending money, could be much more of an advantage. And so I hope that we're going to change. COVID is just the start of a change in our behavior. Both, I think you can see the cynical part of human nature, where prices have now gone through the roof since COVID, is such a depressing result of COVID. But there is also extremely positives to be taken from what wasn't a truly deadly pandemic, but it's opened up our eyes that we can live in different ways.
Can we say that COVID teaches us to love our life instead of our work only?
I think it's made us aware that we could love our lives. Not everybody, but a lot of people.
As we've mentioned before, everything, whether it's COVID or AI or everything, has a list of good things about it and a list of bad things about it. Even COVID has a long list of good things about it. My wife used to commute for an hour each way every day, to go to work, and she works from home now. So completely different. So it takes, it's an emotional, it's a psychological shift to be able to do that. I look out my window and in the evenings, there are families walking, families out for a walk. That is so different from what I'm used to. There are signs on people's front yards that says, "Thank you for the healthcare workers." So there's this outpouring of gratitude that I'm not used to. So these are all good things from COVID. And Kevin, I couldn't agree with you more. We're not going to understand the effects of COVID for a generation or some long. We certainly do not understand it now fully.
I'm not sure if I mentioned it last time. I have a lot of discussion with the young people, students, and people who during the COVID has been in a school, different types or universities, and it seems to me that the young people, and I think we discussed it last time, that they somehow not get older, they get wiser through that. So they, for example, they skip over 10 or 20 years. We discussed many times that we get our, let's say, the understanding of the world, let's call it, be wise or somehow wiser than the others. We get it when we reach 50s or 40s or where we get older. But when I speak with these kids, it looks like that they are in the mind, they are older as well. That happens something like generally happen in a war to soldiers. When you enter the war with 16 and you leave 1 year later, you are 30. In expression, in everything. And I think that COVID helped to this, generally to really open the understanding, the understanding it's us who change the world. We cannot expect it from the politicians or from the old system. The system is here to keep us down, not to push us up. And I think it's somehow it must be connected with love. You know, love is one of the things which is here, and the giants try to cut away from us, giving just the paid one. You know, I will love you if you buy me a new iPhone. That's the love which one of you described as one love which you can buy.
I saw a wonderful thing on the internet, as you do. I think it was a young guy. I think he was from Korea, and he was in love with this girl. And to show his love and propose at the same time, he bought her 100 iPhones. And I think, if nothing else, at least it showed the girl that she was dating a lunatic.
When both of you are writing, you love the stories, you love the words, you love to fill it in the book. Is it love? The work of a writer?
I suspect, Michael, that it's a lot. It's the same use of the word love that you expressed for what you've been doing for the last 10 years. And we've nibbled around the edges of a definition for love. And really, I suspect that there are many definitions of love. But when I remember in high school, I was very much in love with this young lady. Very much in love with this young lady. And if we would walk and talk for an hour, it would seem like 2 minutes. And it's the same way when I often when I am writing, I will look at the clock, or my wife will say, "Do I realize that it's been 4 hours now?" And time absolutely does not exist when you are in this state of love. I suspect time does not exist. It's funny how we keep going back to the word time, isn't it?
It is. It is. And I have exactly the same when I record talks about nothing here in Czech. The people all the time at the end is, what? 2 minutes? It's impossible. And we have all three of us, we have exactly the same feeling. I have only the advantage that 10 minutes before a screen show up on my screen because I'm the organizer of the talk. But otherwise, I'm all the time surprised how fast the time is going. And as I said, I think we did not only enter the flow. I think in the work which you describe, we become the flow itself, which is a very state which I never heard that someone is talking about. But to call it love is, I really, you know, when I stay for the first time on a stage and I say, love your work in this hard expression in Czech, it was not a good feeling, you know, because I never said that and nobody said it in front of me. So it was really strange. But what was even stranger, every single time I use it again and again, I become more proud on this sentence. And I really evangelize it. is the same like I am human, you know. Even now I have the goosebumps again. So a simple sentence. And I think the love count to it, because love is somehow, it's the energy. I don't think we need to define it. The same like Onishimology, we said there are so many definitions. We don't need to look for a definition. And I think with love is the same. We have to feel it. Then we will know that this is the love.
I don't know if you have the same expression in Czech. In English, there's an expression saying that it's better to have loved and lost than never loved at all. And I think, I don't know where it comes from, but it's extremely good saying.
We have probably similar, but I don't know exactly right now. So, but it's quite interesting.
One interesting thing about. Sorry, Bill.
No, go ahead, Kevin.
No, I was just going to say, going back to writing for a second, that it's that the characters in the book, you have to love all your characters, even the ones you know are going to come to a sticky end. You have to love them anyway for who they are, what they do, what they say.
Do you think that everybody on Earth is capable of love?
Sadly, no. No, I don't think so. I think, like you said earlier, some people, well, it's a different kind of love. I think some people are obsessed by themselves, which maybe is a kind of bastardized love. That's not the love that we're talking about.
I will say yes to this, but with the explanation, exactly the same explanation as Bill, as Kevin explained. Because I think that everybody is capable. But whether he or she or it use it or not, it's another question. We have in the noon discussion, we have there a great contribution from a lady who says, you know, Michael, when the people are alone, it can happen. So they can even laugh their smartphone because this is the only person, or Alexa, who speak with them. And it's very sad, of course, if you lose everyone. You know, my granddad, he said, you know, Michael, and many times he said, you know, it's not about the age. The age is, I feel good, so the age is fine. The issue is that everybody around you die. All friends, family members, everyone. At the end, he has only one friend who was 10 years younger than him. There was nobody else. And he said, this is the worst thing. You are losing those people. But I think that everybody can laugh. The question is, and for giants, which you mentioned, I think they generally fear that the people will know about it, you know, because they don't need us to love our work. They need us to do our work. And this is a very different. If they will give us a work which we will love, we will work even harder, we will deliver even better results. But this is not what, and we will probably not ask for better salaries because we will really love it. We will get into the flow, we will become the flow. But we will be hardly to be managed because, you know, Bill, I think that if you are writing, and Kevin are the same, and for me it's the same, if I start writing or doing something, I don't see and I don't feel what is around me. I am inside. I am there right now doing that, concentrating to maximum, doing my love to what I really love.
Let me just share this short conversation I had with someone many years ago, and I know that I've shared it before. And at the time, I was talking with other business people, and we were talking about engagement of the workers, and someone asked me, "What is the difference? What do you think the difference is, Bill, between a worker who is marginally engaged. Basically, he's working for his pay, so it's something he has to do to feed his kids. And the worker who is fully engaged, 99 or 100% fully engaged with the with the company, with the purpose of the company, and so on. He said, "Do you think that that is 20% more productive or 30% more productive?" And without really thinking, just answering off the cuff, I said, it's easily 500 or 1,000% more productive when they are fully engaged. Because as you say, you get with the flow, you become the flow, and you're not just thinking about that widget, the next widget, the next widget. You are thinking about, how do I improve this process? How do I make my coworkers happy or more engaged? How do I think about what the company is going to be a year from now, or what new products are? I'm fully engaged all the time thinking, all the time thinking. I'm not just building widgets. And so it's the same with, and I think when you are fully engaged like that, that's sort of like love. That's an attachment to a purpose or a goal or an individual, even an organization or a philosophy that fully engages you. And that may be one of the many definitions of love that we said we don't need to define it, but I think we see love at work. I think some people demonstrate a love, a different form of love than the love that for another human being, but equally a love that you can lose your time, just lose the time in. What do you think of that, Michael? I see something's going on in that head of yours.
I think
Because
it's
that's the way that that's how you expressed you feel.
yes, yes. I think it's you express it exactly right. I can imagine a factory, and we touched it before. We name it differently, but I think this is a really the right. This will be the right way how to really establish an environment which will be very close to nature. You know, it will be everybody will do what is needed to be done. It will be done only in the volumes which is needed. And I'm the only thing which I'm just now the question which is resonating in my head is how much of this love can be achieved by using of the right language, explaining, because in the work you have to explain. I do remember very well the first time when I make audit in a British factory, and I went there to the production line, and usually in Czech factories, you have the description of the job written in Czech language. And there has been no description, just pictures. And the manager said, I asked him why, where is the description? And he said, you know, Michael, and this is 20 years ago, we have so many people from abroad, which will not probably get good English. So we just take a photograph of the process and everybody understand it immediately. And this was the sort of a language how express this. And I think if you would like to give the same possibility to love your work to your employees, it needs to be explained why they should do it. Not for you, not for me, not for the boss, for themselves, because the love will be there. And you see it usually in a small workshops or so. You see the craftsmen who really spend the time and love their work. But they are few in comparing to the big factories with 1,000 and 5,000 and 10,000 of employees running all over the Gemba. For what?
I think that when I was first joining the job market, if someone had said to me, we want you to form a relationship with your job, it would have been extremely helpful. Then I would have thought about it in a different way, because then it's not just a duty. It's not just a job. It is something else then that can be changed, nourished, and approached in a completely different way.
And did they provide you with some tools to really engage with?
Not at all. No, I'm saying that I wish that they did. It would have been completely different. Yeah, for most of us, the only way to find it is to do something you love, and that takes you know, if the HR departments were more like dating sites, perhaps that would help.
You know, I have here, and I have the discussion, unfortunately in Czech, but I can take one of the guys, they are speaking English. I know two guys who really separated from Grafton, which is a big headhunting company, where they work for 10 or 20 years, and they make a small HR office generally. And they are really, it's very close to what you described. So they do not only listen to the needs of the employer, they check the employer, what is the environment there, they check the status of the employee, and they really try to match it. And I do remember once there was in my office a visit from India, and the lady, and she was the, I don't know what is the name, but a lady which make the marriages. There is some name, so they arrange marriages. And I said, isn't it, we are living in 21st century, isn't it something so out of the end? And she said, do you know what is the rate of people who stay together with all their life, no divorce? I said 60%. She said no, 95. Wow. But it's a lot of work, of course. A lot of work to put these two people together, to really analyze. And she explained, and it was really deep science, to be honest. So it was very interesting meeting. And we have two minutes to go. 2:42.
I think that one thing to bear in mind with love and the job is that the more you love what you're doing, the less of a job it is. It is a completely different relationship after a while.
Right.
It is like that. And I think this should be I think I see this in the meaning, in the wasteless world, you know, this is what I call the meaningfulness of work. Because I think the people who try to separate the work from the life, so private and work life, what a nonsense, you know, it must become one. This is, otherwise we establish another silo, which we run from the other, try to catch the other, and it does not work usually.
We used to call the work-life balance as if it were two weights on a teeter-totter. And working from home has taught a lot of people that it is not a balance that you stop this and go here and do that. It's a work-life blend. It's a work-life blend because you may be multitasking. I hate that word, but it's more of a blend. And I think that's one of the things that COVID and working from home has taught us.
I do remember, and we have almost 1 minute left. I do remember I was on some assignment center for a managerial role. And there has been people from all around the country. And one of the questions was, do you prefer work-life balance? And the hands goes up, and there has been people who should travel and who will separate from their factory, from their families, because it's 200, 300 kilometers to the workplace, you know. It was crazy. But because we are at the end, I would like to thank you. I really love our communication today. And I would like to wish everyone, have a nice time, free of waste and wasting in all its forms. Stay safe, free, be human, and find your love in everything what you do. And see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.